Hello, everyone. I'm Ganesh. I'm one of the founders of Covalent, and I'm excited to share with the community on what we've been up to at Covalent. It's been a while since we did one of these updates, and there's a lot to catch up to. So sit tight. I think there's a bunch of exciting uh, updates from our side. I'm just trying to see. Okay, there you go. So today's agenda. So we have four specific points we want to talk about. First is the technology that we've built over the last many years, the market opportunity that we see with our products, Gold Rush, new chains, new distribution, new use cases, etc. The agentic future, how we are building for what is going to be the machine economy, where so far we've been mostly building for humans, but going forward, it's agents that matter. And then finally, super important to us is CXC, which is the utility, the revenue, buyback, and the various unlocks for token utility. So without any other delay, let's get started. So fundamentally, what has become clear is that perhaps the only use case of these blockchain systems we've built over the last decade or so is finance. And just like how we used to have e-commerce companies, which is commerce online, we're going to have essentially on-chain finance. And this, has a spectrum all the way from DeFi, where the entire system runs on-chain, to on-chain finance, where the custody and the rules and the transparency in the book are on-chain, while it looks like a traditional, financial application that we're all used to. So since 2028, which is when we got started, so we've built the most comprehensive blockchain data infrastructure in the world, 100 plus chains, petabyte scale, and we've gone and sat through every single market cycle. So we started a time before there was stable coins, before there were RWAs, before NFTs, before perps, and we've lived through every single transformation the industry has sat through, has transformed. So now we see RWAs, we see AI agents, we see institutional capital, all of it coming on chain. And the Clarity Act, depending on how your purview is accelerating tokenization globally. So this future, which is agentic, will require a data layer that is fast, reliable, and always on. So that is the reason, the entirety of why we exist. And this is the future we've been building over the past few years. So I'll talk a little bit about the technology that we've built. Something I'm very proud of what we've done at Covalent is that we have always tried to build the technology regardless of how long it takes or how expensive it is. And our belief is that whatever we build will eventually find its use case. The arc of technology is always infrastructure to applications and so on. So let's go back to airports and airplanes. You had airplanes without airports, and then airports started coming in, and then you had better airplanes, which are the applications of airports, and that cycle keeps continuing. So this is the cycle, the infrastructure cycle that we're in, and infra is what makes everything else possible. So fundamentally, our technology is a proprietary stack. It's vertically integrated, and maybe for the first time, we have built a complete hardware system that powers our technology. So it's not just a SaaS offering. It's not just software moving bits here and there. This is actual physical hardware, water-cooled CPUs, interconnects. Everything has been handpicked. Every nut and bolt is to spec. So this is how we're able to optimize systems. So it kind of looks more like high frequency trading, where you're able to co-locate to the exchange, you're able to have these microwave towers, and you're trying to squeeze every edge. And that's basically what we've tried to do with the vertical purview. So fundamentally, what we have is a logical organization system known as the medallion architecture. And this was built by Databricks, which is one of those unicorn. It's as big as Anthropic. So everyone's heard of Anthropic, but Databricks is the unsung hero. It's probably going to go public maybe later this year or early next year. And so they invented this technology called the medallion architecture. It's how you think about data, which is your bronze layer, your silver data, and your gold layer. And so that is what we've been able to use. And one of the unique facets of blockchain technology is that the data is ever growing. So we have every single block, every transaction, every log event, every wallet, every token from the Genesis block. So this in many cases can be over 10 years, like Ethereum, for example, is over 10 years. And the medallion architecture helps us organize logically what is raw data to what is refined data and what is business ready data. So there's a couple of transformation steps. And if you want to build an audit trail over that, you need this level of organization. So that is what we've built. And this comes from the Web2 experience that myself and the team has in the traditional world. The second piece is just the hardware stack. So these, like I mentioned before, these are built to spec. We've put a lot of care and thought into every single piece, including the storage units to the memory that powers these machines to the CPUs, how many cores you need, the interconnects, making sure they're all in the same rack, minimizing bandwidth, looking at networking configuration, egress, ingress. So every single layer of the stack has been optimized. And the data center we work with, it's not off-the-shelf components, right? They purpose-built each machine to spec. So that is what we've done here. And the IP mode here is something that I don't think has ever been done in the data infrastructure space for on-chain applications, which is cheaper OpEx and can scale at 100x. So we are truly building for this future. And internally, we call this pipeline 2030, which is what would the world require in 2030, and let's build for that future. So this is one of a kind in terms of where this infrastructure is. The second thing I'm very proud about is the shipping velocity. So just in the last 20 weeks this year, we've shipped a big feature every 8 days or so. So just going through this barrage of releases we've done, all of this is on the changelog. So you can go to goldrush.dev, and then through the menu bar, there's a changelog link. So the token search API, we have a new vibe coding plan that starts at $10 a month. We now have X402 micropayments. We have the Redstone data in our stack. We have agentic skills, Tempo mainnet, pipeline API, L2 order book, L4 order book, the info API, the list goes on. So if you look just in May alone, we've had 5 or 6 new updates. So the shipping velocity, if anything, is only going to increase. And we use best-in-class software engineering practices, the best-in-class LLMs. We use them, the best harnesses to ship faster. And so we've basically, I would say, 5x to 10x our output velocity. And you can look at other competitors and see where they're at. And we've just taken a wholesale adoption. We've skipped a whole cycle in terms of adoptions. We're all in on this, and we're just able to move so much faster. So this is super, super exciting. Current revenue numbers. So right now we are at about a little over $1 million. Our base fee growth from 24 to 25 has grown 3x. We have about 150 paying customers and 4 revenue channels. We co-sell our data through QuickNode, through Google's marketplace. We have an enterprise plan with a couple of customers. We have a professional plan with active customers, and a vibe coding plan, which is just about 100 customers over the last few months. So this is like what we're doing on the revenue side of things. And I think with the new pipeline API, with the new products that we're building, the Hyperliquid API, which as of today, we've just started monetizing, and my team tells me in the last 24 hours, we've collected about $30 worth of revenue from that. So these things are just going to start, and our intention is to dramatically grow the top line revenue numbers. So it's going to be a very exciting year for Covalent. So how do we actually get to this 5x revenue plan? And this is a flywheel, right? So better, faster, cheaper is the mantra. And so better technology, performant, cost effective, can hit scale, bigger market, like 100 plus chains, pipeline API, CLI, X402, agentic workloads, hyperliquid info API. These are all like expanding our addressable market. More usage, credit usage is up. Vibe coding plan is growing. 20% of our traffic is through LLMs. So this is all the OpenAI, ChatGPT traffic, and you get to more revenue. More revenue improves our tech stack, helps fix all these bugs, and then just goes into CXT, buybacks, utility, deploy into better tech and bigger market, and just this flywheel. So this is really where this cycle is. And it started at zero many years, $0 of revenue, no technology. And then we started with the first chain, the first set of APIs, the first set of customers, and then use that to build better technology and move from a pure software play to a dedicated hardware play to custom hardware. And just the cycle just goes bigger, faster, and cheaper year after year after year. So one of the great things about this technology is that this is actually countercyclical to bull markets or bear markets. So regardless of where the cycle is, you always need access to data. So if you look at any of the emerging use cases, be it RWAs or be it perps, this is a straight up data play. Without data, without accurate, without fast data, your humans are going to make errors. Your agents are just going to get confused and hallucinate. So this is super mission critical for the industry to grow. So very exciting place to be. So now let's talk about the core products that we have. What is the opportunity ahead of us? So fundamentally, what we have today is we have about 5 or 6 products or 5 or 6 SKUs under Gold Rush. So the foundation API is how we started. This is what we've had since the start, when it was called the Covalent API, and then we rebranded it under Gold Rush. And so this API gives you structured historical data across 100 plus chains. So all the basic stuff like balances, transactions, historical point-in-time queries, decoded logs, NFTs, token holders, etc. The streaming API is specifically meant for bots and trading agents. So these are sub-second real-time events via WebSockets. So it's able to give you OHLCV pricing for pairs, for tokens. Is able to give you wallet activity if you want to copy trade those, new DEX pairs if you want to snipe that liquidity, things of that nature. So everything is a real-time sub-second API. The lead pipeline API, which we just released, we have a few customers testing it out. So this is basically copying all of this on-chain data after transformation, after decoding, into your data warehouse. So it can be a Snowflake, can be a Kafka, can be a database, can be a webhook, and you're able to then post-process this. This is really important if you want to do backtesting, for example, or you're an enterprise play and you want to copy or merge this on-chain data with private KYC'd information that will never be on-chain. So that's what these use cases unlock. The next is Hyperliquid API. This is a complete data layer. It's one of a kind in the space. So Hyperliquid is super popular these days, and the Hyperliquid team, the foundation, offers a free API, but it comes with some steep rate limits and limitations with look-back queries and so on, and the number of wallets you can track. It's a free API. It's what you would expect. And so what we've done is we've been able to work through all of those rate limits. And some of the stats, for example, is we're able to track, I think it was like 1.5 million wallets through the copy trading API, the copy wallet watcher. I don't even know if there's 1.5 million users on Hyperliquid, but anyway, so like I said, this is building for the future. So This is immense scale. And again, we've taken a first principles thinking here, which is running our nodes in Tokyo, a private backbone that streams the data into our stack, and then post-processing it and then delivering the structured data. So that's with the Hyperliquid API. And then CLI, MCP. We're fortunate in the way that we didn't start out as a dashboarding product or as a product for humans. It's always been an API that's been since day one. It's always been an API. So the CLI, where you can use Gold Rush from the command line, MCP, which you can connect through Anthropic or ChatGPT or Gemini, is a new way of accessing on-chain data. And those things are starting to see traction. So all of the products are visible through the CLI, through MCP, through the REST API, through the WebSocket API, through the SDK, and so on. So that's really what we've been able to build. Pipeline API. So this is a key unlock. This is straight up an enterprise use case. And I think I mentioned that on the enterprise side, there's certain private information that'll never be on chain. And it also doesn't make sense to upload that data to Covalent in the sense that, let's say, because of GDPR, you have data residency requirements. And so EU citizens' data will never be uploaded to a server in North America, for example. And so the only way is to deliver on-chain data into the customer's warehouse so that they can then do these private joins between private data and public data. So that's what this is. And we've added some best-in-class features here. We're able to do ABI decoding. So if you have a log event, you can do custom decoding, for example. You're able to then do transformations. So you can have where clauses. So it uses SQL to do simple transformations. And then this is just a pipeline of data that's writing to your data stream. And today we support about 6 or 7 endpoints or destination types that you can feed data in. And this is an always running pipeline, and it's just touch and go. So that's really what the pipeline API does. Expanding our TAM. So previously our TAM, the 150 plus customers that we have is mostly wallet providers, custodians, like taxation tools, and so on. And the new TAM is on-chain trading derivatives. This is all of the stuff that we have for the streaming API, RWAs and tokenization, agentic commerce. That's a huge use case for us. Institutions, capital allocators. There's more and more stuff coming on-chain, and everyday builders. We'll never forget, how we started. We were a bunch of tickers. Of course, it wasn't possible to white code, but just playing with stuff. If you remember back in the day, we started Covalent after a hackathon. That's how we started. So we're hackers at heart, and so we'll never forget the vibe coders. So that's really what we've been able to do. So where are we winning here, right? So we definitely have the best data on all the mainstay chains. So this would be like Arbitrum and ETH and Base and so on. But we're seeing rapid growth with Hyperliquid. We're engaged with probably like 30, 40 teams right now, looking to see where the needs are, where we can help on Solana, for example. And I think this is a big gap in our offering that is now available, and emerging chains. So we're pretty excited about what Tempo and Arc, MegEth, Monad, Plasma, all of these chains are doing today. We have a couple more chains that are coming online. So this is like quite exciting. And so it's pretty quick for us to add a new chain. So that's we've like gotten this down to a turnkey solution. So that's super exciting. So macro tailwinds. Now, I would say crypto as an industry is growing up. And so you can see I'm wearing a collared shirt here, for example, right? So it is growing up. And, there's just more and more people, more eyes on chain, what's happening with perps. If you see Hyperliquid has been covered on Bloomberg and BBC multiple times since the war in the Middle East has started. So there's a lot of good stuff happening, and all of this is to our benefit as a company that offers, auditable, verifiable, the Lindy effect of being in the market for so long. So this is really, win at our tails. this is super exciting to be in this space, and we're just going to leverage this and roll this into our growth. Agentic future. This is what's next. So the thesis is that agents write code, and then agents are able to transact, and the transaction is on chain at scale through independent thought and reasoning. So that's really what is happening here. Now, what is core to this loop where you're able to write the code or the thesis or a workflow is access to quality, accurate, fast data. Because if you don't have that data plane, that data backbone, the agent goes off rails. It starts to hallucinate. And as these agents are going through this core loop, the errors compound, and it just becomes really bad. And so the nature of the data, the quality of the data, the fidelity of the data really matters at this scale. So really excited to facilitate this future. All of our products started as an API. So the pipeline API, X402, the CLI, everything is just built for this future. So really good place to be. I feel really good about this. So just an example, it's a 7.6 billion agentic AI market today. Lots of AI agents active, and these are just stats on what's happening right now. We'll come to the final piece of the presentation, which is CXC, which is our revenue, what's the CXC utility, and the path forward. So what are we exploring? So there's a couple of things that are happening on the back end. So as the revenue grows, what that means is that more CXC buybacks, and this is just tied to real business performance. In terms of token utility, we're exploring multiple sinks that will further lead to this whole like token economy, including bonding mechanisms, CXC for agent priority pricing, and there needs to be multiple demand drivers beyond the speculative piece of things. So this is what we have in our books. We also have access to other kinds of like retail facing products that are being built on the Covalent stack, and we can even offer this as a discount token. We can offer this for access to the hardware. So basically any kind of like rate limiting on a limited coordinate resource is another utility that we can fold into CXC. So CXC is not forgotten. It's an actively in front of our eyes and at the forethought. So just to summarize why we're bullish, it's product and technology first. First in class, best in class proprietary technology. It's our moat. Our TAM is massively expanding. It started as a foundation API. A lot of these products are just starting to get monetized. So they've been, we brought them to market in Q1 and Q2. Worked with a couple of customers, and then we're getting it out there. Multiple distribution channels, new chains that we've indexed. Our change log is super active. The agentic future, agentic workloads, the machine economy. This kind of like stack is purpose built for that. Starting as an API first platform, and we have hundreds of customers focused on revenue generation, enterprise traction, a vibe coding plan, so that we can fuel that into more and more experiments. So you can the proof is in the pudding. So look at our change log, see what's happening, what are we shipping. So really excited to be part of this journey where we're building the backbone of the agent economy. Thank you. So I'm going to leave the floor open for questions. I'm not sure how this is going to work. Okay, so my DMs are open on Twitter, and I'm trying to be active on the price chat. So I answer questions with our community, and so if there's anything specific, our doors are always open. So feel free to shoot a message. Thank you. Can we wrap this up?